Hello everyone, today I want to give you my top 5 5-star characters. This includes everything up to patch 2.8 and I will treat all of them as Constellation 0, so you might already have a very different experience building or playing these characters if you have one or more constellations, just FYI. For the ranking, I will consider of course how they perform in combat, how accessible they are in terms of free-to-play builds and teams, and how flexible they are talking about different playstyles and again team compositions, basically how much variety they offer. Alright, enough of that, let's get started. Hu Tao, her being on this list is probably not a big surprise. She's widely regarded as the best Pyro main DPS and I definitely agree with that statement. She has very strong charge attacks and a hard-hitting burst skill, so she's perfect for Jingzhou vaporized teams, which also kind of means she's very free-to-play friendly. You just need some 4-star characters, of course Jingzhou, and throw in Sucrose and Bennett and you're ready to go. Unfortunately, this is pretty much the one way to play her. If you get bored of vaporized teams, it gets a little weird once you try to play Hu Tao in a different way. Also, she mainly uses charged attacks, so stamina management is something you need to like, or you won't have fun playing this character. Though, to be fair, Constellation 1 completely trivializes that mechanic. As for the build, she's quite easygoing. The one problem you might run into is getting a good weapon, but the artifact grind isn't too bad. Hu Tao is HP scaling, which is nice to have a character using your HP artifacts, and she works just fine on double 2-set. Yelan, this one might be a surprise since she's fairly new, but her burst skill is basically the same as Jingzhou's and everybody agrees how strong that is. She does more damage without being reliant on Bennett for that, her elemental skill hits hard and has nice mobility, and on top of that she also provides a damage buff. The only thing Jingzhou has on her is slightly higher hydro application. In terms of teams, Yelan also offers a variety of different strong options: Vaporize teams, Quick Swap teams, an Ayaka freeze team, and even Ayato Yelan feels kind of nice, and I heard their synergy will even be better in the future, but of course I can't specifically say why. Let me just randomly mention Hydro Resonance. The only downside is she requires a character to do normal attacks, so Ganyu Yelan doesn't work, for example. The build couldn't be any more resource efficient. The stringless is a perfect weapon for her and fairly common. As for artifacts, 4-piece emblem set is great and likely a set you want to farm anyway. Kazuha, I think he is another character who was expected to be on this list. He is a great support who has a decent amount of personal damage, but of course, the main selling point here is the ability to increase your team's elemental damage by triggering swirl reactions, which in combination with the Viridescent set adds an insane amount of value to any team composition that mainly deals cryo, hydro, pyro, or electro damage. So you get a lot of diversity in terms of gameplay. Vaporized teams, Quick Swap teams, but also mono damage type teams like Raiden plus C6 Zara or Freeze teams. The only downside is he has no synergy with Geo or physical damage whatsoever, so if you mainly have these type of team compositions on your account, it will be pretty much impossible to find a way to fit in Kazuha effectively. As for the build, it is a little bit of an intense grind for artifacts, though you can start off with a 4-piece Viridescent set with damage stats and slowly transition to a high elemental mastery build once you find good elemental mastery main stat pieces. On the other hand, weapon choices are easy. For example, Iron Sting is great and craftable. Ayaka, again, no surprises here. I think most people would call her one of the strongest characters in the game. I am willing to call her broken, especially if you try to play her in a way to set up small, let's say 5-second windows to instantly kill a boss. I'm fairly confident that Ayaka's burst skill is the best way to do that. The investment for team comps is also surprisingly low. Set up Bennett, Sucrose, and Jungling's burst skills, and once you press Ayaka's burst skill after this, you will deal the most damage in the game for its duration, even though you are only using 4-star characters with Ayaka. Aside from these setup-based comps, you also have regular freeze teams like Morgana or Shenne, Kazuha, Kokomi, so Ayaka offers a decent amount of variety as well. As for the build, same as Hu Tao, the main problem will be finding a decent weapon. The free-to-play 4-star swords just aren't really focused on main DPS characters. The artifact grind is pretty easy though. You can play a Blizzard Strayer freeze team build, but you can also just run a 2-piece Noblesse set for your burst damage teams. Raiden. Weirdly enough, she went from being called weak on release to being considered one of the strongest characters now. Anyway, I always thought and I still think she is the best character in the game. Raiden offers good damage on her burst skill and a lot of utility in general, generating energy and increasing burst skill damage for the entire team, as well as some good electro application. So not only does she fit a lot of different teams, but also different roles. On the one hand, she can be a support for Eula, and on the other hand, a main DPS in the kind of iconic national team. If you want to set up big burst skill damage, she can do it, slot in Kazuha and C6 Sarah. She has a lot of strong options and an insane amount of gameplay variety. I'd say it's nearly impossible to get bored of this character. The build, same as Yelan, super efficient. The game provides a perfect Refinement 5 4-star weapon for her on a silver platter. Of course, I'm talking about the catch. And for artifacts, again, 4 pieces emblem set. Something you want to farm anyway, though to be fair, she is very stat hungry, making her build look good can take a while. Alright, that's it. I think Raiden is the best 5-star character in Genshin Impact and a personal favorite of mine. She is literally meta defining. Her release popularized quick-swap teams, which definitely was a big shift in playstyle compared to the slow-paced traditional main DPS meta like Morgana or Jingzhou Vaporize. And the usual mandatory disclaimer, none of these characters are necessary to beat the game. If you want to run a Shichi Kokomi freeze team, that's fine. After all, this is a pretty easy casual game. With that, we made it to the end. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my list. Stay tuned for more videos. Until then, have fun and bye bye.